Okay, so similar to how I did with that StarCraft replay a while ago, I'm going to try to cast myself a replay of Age of Empires Definitive Edition, which has come out recently. I'm thinking more people will be playing this than StarCraft, which is, getting a little bit dead at this point. But this has just had the release of Definitive Edition, so I probably shouldn't be putting it on fast yet. Yeah, because it's had the release of Definitive Edition, this game's been energized, and people always kind of kept playing it. It's one of those games where it never really died, even though it got very old. Because one of the factors, in my opinion, being that the graphics has kind of a timeless quality to it. Like here we're seeing an updated version of it for Definitive Edition, but it's basically the same. I think the main thing they changed was that you can zoom in. And, they've added pixels to it, but it's still the same kind of style where it looks like a moving painting, almost, rather than the sort of cartoonish video game graphics that you usually see. Or sort of hyper-realistic. It's kind of in between. So I've always sort of loved that aesthetic. But anyway, it's an RTS game. I love RTS games. And this is me, Lorehammer Library. I'm the Lorehammer Library CEO, by the way. That's who you're hearing speak. I'm playing as the CUMANs. I love to be a CUMAN. And this is the British that I'm playing against, who have the longbows as their famous unit. And people love to play as Britons and then spam longbows. It's a classic maneuver here. I've casted another game that just kind of crashed when I tried to actually use it. And in that game I was playing as the Britons, and I said that since Brexit has happened, the only people you're allowed to play as in the UK after a sort of government internet licensing procedure happened, you're only allowed to play as the Britons or the Celts in the UK. But didn't end up using that episode because of some tech BS. So I'm just going to say that here and use that joke. But anyway, here we are. I'm already 2 villagers behind, which is very worrisome on the villager count. This guy, let's have the score. So I'm getting killed on score. He's already used his 2 boars, I believe. Oh, he's luring his second one now. And I remember in this match it took me a long time to actually use my boars because they're like off to the side a bit. I'm population blocks again there. Doing some hunting of these deer rather. But at the minute this guy looks way better than me. The way he's setting his base up, he's got this house sort of partially protecting his berry foragers. He's got all of his boar sorted out. He's got a few villagers ahead, which is probably a result of him never being housing blocked. He's kept up to date with his houses. Because obviously if you reach the population block, then you are blocked from producing more villagers, which at the start of the game is the most crucial thing, because it has such a knock-on effect on your economy. It's almost like the butterfly effect. Think of it like that. If you lose a villager, or you're prevented from making a villager, it's similar. It's like the reverse version of the butterfly effect of how if you go back in time and kill someone, you don't know what knock-on effect that would have. Obviously, in this case, it's a bit more predictable what effect they would have. The villager is there to give you more resources. So it's like, even though a villager is of low value in terms of to purchase them, they're worth thousands of resources in the long run. So it's like a snowball effect, but in a bad way if you don't optimally perform at the start in terms of getting the villagers. So I'm on 19 right now and he's on 22, which is slightly embarrassing. This guy is quite the boomer, though. He's and I'm memeing a little bit there, but what I really mean to say is that he's he booms very hard. And booming in the RTS sense is when you gather lots of resources and you then boom with the resources in terms of, do something with them. So so the boom is the phase of economically you're booming in terms of like investing in your economy, which everyone does at the start, but I'm just commenting that this guy, he booms very hard. He's got a very strong economy, as you will see. I mean, he already does. Researching feudal age before me there, as you might expect. I'm just finishing my second boar. Oh, my first boar. Wow. So I've still got that one to do. Let's see what he's doing. A few too many people on the berry bush. I would probably quibble with that, because you see these guys aren't as efficient. So my autism certainly disagrees with the... Look at this pathing. He's got to walk all the way around to the side. Absolutely degenerate. Don't watch that though. This is highly efficient. So everyone sort of comes to this point. Looks like I forgot about that second boar, which is kind of cringe. But everyone comes to the point where they stop farming and they stop hunting rather, or herding, and they invest in farms, which takes a lot of wood. So you have to put a few guys on here first. But yeah, everyone naturally ends up just spamming farms because it's reliable. Whereas with hunting's obviously finite, and you have to keep trying to find more and more animals on the map. It would be kind of ludicrous if you tried to keep it up for the whole game. He's getting a barracks out here. Now, he's playing as Britons, so we can assume that this barracks is just for tech purposes, because you can't build your other military buildings if you don't have a barracks. And Britons tend to go for archers. So, that's not a sign of a rush. So, that's kind of cringe. I built the farms, but then I realised I still had the boar, so now I'm taking the boar. So this is all quite the clown show on the blue side here. And I'm building an archery range and a stable at once. So he's building a market, and he's got a blacksmith here. That's his 2 feudal age buildings, so he's ready to go to the Dark Age, the Castle Age, excuse me. Dark Age is the age that you start in. I'm here doing a bit of walling off. He's using his scout very well. He keeps scouting my base, and seeing his scout sort of reminded me that I could get scout rushed, which is a bit of a bitch of a tactic to get hit by, so I'm walling off in fear. But he's just good at scouting. It's all the same scout. By contrast, here's my scouting. I've just done my immediate area to find my boar and my resources, and I'm just sitting there like a noob. Oh god, someone's being hit. So he's doing a bit of aggression with his scout there, but looks like I'm going to ward him off with my other villagers. Building a few scouts of my own now. Gonna go for a little push, it looks like, and see what's going on the other side. Let's put this view lock back on. So we should be seeing what he's looking at, if it's not glitching. Oh yeah, here. He absolutely wrecked me at this point. He pulled me over to this hill, and then used the hill damage. If you're striking downwards on a hill, then you get an extra bit of damage. And he 1v1'd my scout with that, so I got out-microed there. am I doing now? You're seeing my point of view, like live sort of thing. I'm using this villager for something. Setting up my gold. Setting up a gold camp there, so you need 200 gold, 800 food, and 2 feudal age buildings to go up to castle age. And as you can see at the side, you can see sort of updates of production on the side here. He is already almost at castle age, and I haven't started researching it yet. So it's all pretty cringe thus far. So he's got 31 villagers, and I have 32. But I guess that's because I continued to produce villagers while he was aging up, which obviously puts your town centre out of action for a bit. Oh yeah, and something I realised at this point of the game is that I haven't been using the CUMAN's main bonus, because, as I assume you'd be aware, all the different civilizations that you play as have minor kind of bonuses that help towards certain playstyles. The CUMAN's playstyle is kind of like is a bit of a boomer playstyle as well, which you can get a bonus towards when you play them, because you get to make a town centre in the feudal age, but only one. Usually you have to wait until the castle age to be able to build any town centres. So at this point, I think I'm realising I'm about to wall this off, but there will come a time when I realise how silly I am that I haven't built a town centre. Like, that could have been a town centre, that mining camp. And obviously you want that as soon as you hit feudal age, pretty much, if you're playing CUMANs optimally. Now here... So, the reason why this is funny is that I'm playing as CUMANs. So my bonuses mean that I should get the town centre in the feudal age. So I'm up to 2 town centres before any other civ can. But because he's got to the castle age quickly, he has built a town centre before I've even built my own, because I forgot about my bonus. So at the minute I'm in a state of disarray. Let's just say that. I'm performing like a complete mug at this point, but that's okay. So he's even got 3. He built another one here. So there's 3 town centres. If he produces vills with these, you know, at a consistent rate. So, okay, here's my town centre here. Using a shit ton of vills on it to try and get it as quickly as possible. And I'm researching castle age. So that's certainly not optimal efficiency, the fact that I'm building this as I'm going up to castle age. I think ideally you would want to build it as soon as you hit feudal, then use it to help you boom in resources to get you up to castle age. Then probably build another one, or go for a push with the extra resources. What we're seeing here, university, which is a castle age building. I assume he wants the university to get ballistics, which is an important tech. Oh, here, I'm coming in for a scout here. Is this my first time that I've scouted his base? Oh no, it's not. Looks like I've already scouted a bit of it. Yeah, I think he's getting the university for ballistics, which makes your archers more accurate. So you can see why he'd be researching that when he's playing the archer civilization of the Britons. So, some of you are probably thinking, why aren't the Britons a naval civilization? Well, in this game is more centered around the medieval period. So it's kind of... They're sort of following the longbow meme rather than the sort of like Britannia rules the waves meme. But, you know, as well as that, it's sort of... It seems like they should be called the English rather than the Britons, in a way. Because if you already have the Celts, then the Celts is the part of... the Celts arguably all the parts of the British Isles apart from England. So, a slight conundrum there. But, you know, you can't expect it to be completely historically accurate. Let's look at the Vil counts. 65 for him, 41 for me. So, quite dishonourable indeed. Because of his score, I remember that I was worried about being attacked for a lot of this early game here, which is why I built these spearmen, because people tend to attack you in a raiding sense with cavalry, and spearmen are a cheap way to counter that. So there's a third town centre for me now that I'm in Castle Age. Hopefully I can get my economy off the rocks. He's building a castle here. I'm going to take it off view lock for a minute. Look at this obscene amount of villages on the gold there. That's too many. He needs to build another one here. Surely he has more gold. Okay, so he's going to have 3 golds.
Ready.
And this castle will protect this one, which is slightly more exposed. So yeah, he's still in the boomer phase. He's not made basically any units yet. So although on my side I am slightly scared of an attack, I have no reason to be. He's simply diverting all of his attention into creating a mammoth economy, which he is achieving. Look, he's got 77 villages and is producing vills with 3 town centres. I don't know what I'm thinking here. What am I using these villagers for? Putting them on the gold. 2 idle villagers here. Sloppy play there. What am I looking at? I think I'm planning on building a castle up there to claim these resources. Castle costs 650 stone, so I'm approaching that amount, and I'm going to use these troops to protect my vills while they do that. So although I'm deviating from the efficiency of the pure boom by making these troops, it is a somewhat sound decision to have these vills protected. Oh shit, what's happening here? I think that was just an animal. Some lion or something that was attacking. Now here's something I'm terrible at that he's schooling me on here as well. The monk unit that you use to pick up relics. I literally never do that. And that is really good because it gives you free gold. You get like a trickle of gold over time. Which is especially good because there's a point in the game where that monk died. There's a point in the game where all the gold is gone. If the game actually goes to proper late game, there will come a time when all the gold is gone, and if you have all the relics, then you can still produce gold units, which tend to be more powerful. Look at this obscene... What the hell? The amount of vills he's got on gold. I think that's beyond the level of efficiency, to be honest. But I can't really criticise when he has... He's got like 37 more villagers than me. I guess you can afford to be slightly inefficient with them in that kind of state. I'm not even on 2 golds right now. I think I'm just on that. And I'm on 2 stone at least. Okay, I managed to kill that monk, which was a bit of good luck for me, to be fair. Suppose I denied that relic for the whole game, just because of that. That is definitely a spot of good luck. So, I guess the the downside of the monk thing, and you know, if you're a noob like me, is that all this extra micro of trying to find the relics and moving your monks around to get them might put me off more basic things like building houses, and so I might house myself in and grind my economy to a halt accidentally by doing it. Okay, so this tech that I'm researching here with the silver crown, that's the crowns represent the unique techs of the different civilizations. So the unique tech of the CUMANs is one that I really like, that means that you can produce light cavalry far, far quicker, which is this unit here. These only cost food. They cost 80 food, so they're quite cheap. And obviously because they're cavalry, they're very mobile. And they have like a fair amount of attack. Not as much as a knight, which is the heavy cavalry. Which is more expensive, but they're still pretty good, and they're expendable. So they're good for kind of raiding. And obviously certain units they're good against. Certain units they're not. But particularly good for raiding, I think. You refer to the units that aren't that don't take gold as trash units, and I feel like light cav are perhaps the best trash unit because of the fact that they can hit the enemy's economy with their speed. They have quite a lot of HP as well. Like obviously spearmen are the other trash units, and skirmishers, which are, you know, kind of like specifically counter units. The skirmisher's good against the archer, the spearman's good against the cavalry. But I feel like the light cav has like, they're sort of generally kind of good. And they have the added benefit of being really good at raiding and just having a lot of HP. Oh god, what's happening? So he's pushing ahead with longbows. I'm going to look at his perspective from a little bit here. So he's been hitting this wall, which triggered a response, gave me a notification. He's also advanced to the Imperial Age at the same time. I'm sure he's feeling incredibly confident with this with this score lead that he has in the bottom right. And to be fair, it's quite surprising that he hadn't pushed out earlier. But here we go. He's looking outnumbered here. So, but he's bringing in more guys. Terrible micro. Got some horse archers just attacking a barracks because I used the attack move function on them, which in this game is called patrol. And he's got more reinforcements, and he's now got a castle that's got villagers garrisoned in it, so it becomes a terrible fight for me. So I start backing away. But all in all, I think that was decent. And I look around, now that I know how many troops he has and where they are, I'm gonna try and get into his base. Yeah, I guess we'll watch this from my point of view. So, I'll go for villagers. If you really want to hit the economy, the best thing to take is the villagers. You can even kill the town centre, which would take a lot of time. You still haven't harmed the actual output of the economy necessarily. Like, you have long term, because they can't produce as many villagers. Or any if they have one town centre, but if you take the villagers, then you take the actual income away. So that's the best raiding target. And they die quite easily. So they're a good target in that sense. So yeah, I don't mean to present that as if I've worked that out. That's sort of conventional wisdom in Age of Empires. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to say that as if I'm like some kind of game philosopher here. So that was really, really good for me. His units are just about to move into counter now, but we managed to go through here, take out a lot in here, and take out a lot in here, which has basically evened out the villager count. He has a 3 villager lead. Oh, now it's the same, I think, because 2 more just died. Now I'm 1 above. So there we go. But, as you can see, he's moving ahead now. I'm going to take it off view lock for a minute. As you can see, he's moving ahead with these. And I think this is about to be absolutely disgusting, as you can tell. Now, you know how I was talking about how light cav are good for killing villagers? The speed is especially good because it means they can get into the... Oh, he's being a real sneaky bastard here. The speed is especially good because they can run into the base quickly without dying. And they can chase after the villagers when they're running. But with archers, they have the range and they have high damage. So this happens if they do manage to get inside the base. They are very good for killing villagers. Oh, but the reason why I say is he was being sneaky there is he didn't give me the notification until the last minute. He spent some extra time walking up before he attacked, which is when I get the notification. So that gave him extra time to deal damage, which was well played there. So at the minute, the reason why it took me so long to respond, or at least what I'm going to use as the excuse, is that I ran to the fog of war with these, so he can't see those troops at the minute. And my attention, they are in this dark splotch here. So the excuse I'm going to use is that my attention was over there, although I didn't actually go on view lock to prove it. And something annoying about this... oh god, that was a massive mistake as well. Something annoying about this replayer that we're using right now is that there's no way to go back. The only way to go back is to restart playback from the beginning, which, you know, if I even accidentally pressed that, it would really fuck my recording session up really badly. Sorry for swearing. So another really bad mistake that I make here is that I press the button for the vills to come out of the town centre too early, because I wasn't betting on the fact. I thought he would try and fight this army, but he's smarter than that. If I give him the opportunity to take out a load of villagers, that's a better investment for his troops than to kill some of these guys. So, and I think I was looking over here to, as soon as I felt like this was dealt with, I was looking and trying to do something over here. So we're seeing my point of view now. Oh, it's so bad. I'm not actually counting how many he killed, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's gonna. So he killed about 10 there. So another 10 basically. So that kind of just destroyed my gains from the raid that I had earlier. And I think I got a few more villagers there, but he's got what used to be crossbows, now arbalests, which is the final version of archer. He got them ready to defend his base in case any more raids came, which paid off here. So I'm trying to lose them and make them hide out somewhere. Finished a castle here, and I think that distracted his attention away. The fact that castle started hitting his lumber camp here, and that also allowed me to slide some boys into the corner there and lose the aggro from his archers. What am I doing? I've got to Imperial Age, forgot to mention that. Excuse me. So now I'm getting upgrades for my light cavalry. I haven't upgraded my cavalry archers much. You can get the heavy cavalry archer upgrade in Imperial Age, which is probably not worth it, or at least as worth it, as worth upgrading my light cav, because for one thing, I've invested in them already with the unique tech that lets me produce them incredibly quickly. And for another thing, the cavalry archers aren't that good against foot archers. So, whereas light cav, you could say, is a bit of a counter to foot archers. Although, in this game, ranged is kind of a little bit better than melee in general. I would argue, at least. Because in Definitive Edition, the melee pathing isn't that good. And if you micro with range, you can focus fire down units, which is also very good. A good way of maximizing damage. Because if you focus down units, then it means you may be doing the same amount of damage, or even less damage, but you're ensuring you're killing units as quickly as possible. And every time you kill a unit, their damage is removed from the battle. So in terms of maths, you're winning the fight in terms of damage output. Which is why it's so effective in winning fights in real terms. Although I think you can potentially overkill units. Like let's say you had like 100 longbows. Should probably put it on slow motion while I'm rambling. If you had 100 longbows and you were shooting them at one guy in turn, then that's like, you're putting way too much damage in. Way more than they actually need to kill them. So you're probably actually reducing your damage to the level that it's not worth it to do that. But, okay. Don't know why I went on that ramble. So this is Light Cav, in case you don't know. This is the next upgrade of Light Cav, the Hussar, which is the Imperial Age version. So I was just sending that in there to see if it was still possible to send units in, and just to see what's going on. But I meet those archers, so I'm not in love with the idea of going in there anytime soon. Because I can see there's a lot of archers. And the fact that they've now seen a Hussar in there means that they're going to be on high alert. I probably should have just sent a group of 5 in there and just let them chase after villagers. Because I could afford to do that at the time. So let's look at his perspective. I don't want to keep missing out on that. So he's pushing up with a lot of arbalests. They get extra range when you're playing as the Britons. So they're quite formidable. And you can see his focus firing. At least he was there. I'm going to take it off view lock because it's not going to be very good viewing. But as you can see here, he's using the fact that melee units need to surround another group of units in order to do optimal damage, right? If they're milling around amongst each other, then they're not doing as much damage as they need to. So the fact that he's going up against his own buildings here means that he's messing with the pathing, and he's ensuring that there's at least one side of the blob of archers that's not being hit. So that's smart micro there. And he's also, additional to that, he is doing focus firing. And I remember when that last Hussar died and I saw this big blob, because I thought there was just a small amount like that left. But obviously I can't replay it because of the flaws of this system. But when I realised how many were in there tightly packed, I was like, oh shit, I better pull the horse archers back. Don't think they can mess with this damage. I forgot to talk about upgrades, by the way. So at the minute he's got all the upgrades for his archers, and the +6 range is because normally he would have +4, I think, from ranged upgrades. But I think he gets 1 from... Oh no, I'm slightly... I think maybe he gets 3 from ranged upgrades, and he gets 1 in each age. As a result of being the British, you get 1 extra range from feudal, castle, imperial. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm sure there'll be a whiz who knows the answer to that. We all love a whiz on the YouTube comments. It's our favourite thing. So here I'm trying to go for another engagement because I see he's pushing up and he's building this castle now. I could do with light cav more than I could do with horse archers here, but I think I just had a lull in food production. Because as you can see there, I don't have many upgrades for the horse archers yet. They're sort of just a way to use my extra wood and gold into something. So yeah, they can't really go pound for pound with these British archers that are highly upgraded. I need more food production, but I think it takes me a while to solve that problem. Just trying to kind of delay. I mean, the good thing about archers is at least they can't take down buildings very quickly at all. So as well as pushing earlier, which I think is a fair criticism of this guy, he had such a score lead earlier, and I feel like he should have done more to try and put me on the back foot. As well as that, he should have put more siege in with his archers. If he had some siege, he could be penetrating into the base a lot easier. But I suppose he's still getting archers to because he's worried about my army. Now I make a pretty bad error here. I assumed there was some light cav in this group, and so I walk them over here as if I'm, helping them to path into like a surround situation. But it's all flipping horse archers. So that was just wasted movement points. So I got to retreat there. But, at least I killed a few of them. I don't think it was a particularly good trade. And let's check the economic stats out. Oh, I'm surprised to see that his villages are lower than mine. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention I did a sneaky move here, where while this was going on, I was trying to do something while his attention was away, and this is a little a cool trick to do, is to bear in mind where the attention of your opponent's going to be, because part of the challenge in RTS is that you can only look at one place at one time, and so you can get distracted by something and get absolutely screwed by something else happening. Looks like he could be doing something over here, for instance, but he's not because he's putting too much attention over here, understandably. But yeah, so while this was going on, I sent some trebuchets to go take this this guy out, this town centre, just to try and get some economic harassment. And to be fair, that's kind of good because it means that he's at quite a low vil count now, and he can't get back to high as quick with that. But these are eventually going to get killed, and I kind of lose track of them myself, I think. Beating up my own game. Can we just talk about this, though, by the way? This guy's got 5k food. Why doesn't he make some flippin' light cav himself and rush them into my base? He needs to think about the vills more, I feel like. A lot of people get caught up with fighting your army, and need to go after your vills. I don't know if he's, like, doing some kind of... Well, I was about to say, I don't know if he's doing some kind of special challenge where he's only allowed to build archers, but now I just see this trebuchet, so it's obviously not that. But yeah, his food count is ridiculous here. It just went down a lot though, so I wonder what he purchased there. So here I come with another cavalry push after I've produced some more light cavalry. So I'm trying to micro them to surround there, as you saw. Sorry, I shouldn't have had that on view lock. But yeah, as you can see, he kind of looks away there and starts building farms. And I don't know if that's because he'd calculated that he was going to lose this, so he thought, well, fuck it, sort of situation. But that was pretty bad. I'm considering whether he should have tried to keep microing this. But to be fair, I'm not sure if it would have meant that he could walk it all the way back here, which would be the only way to save it in his defences here. So yeah, he's got these trebs around this castle. It's quite a nice defensive position here. He's trying to put down another castle. See what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see I've built some more stables and I have this town centre up here. Oh, okay, I'm going to build more farms, which is something I said I should have done ages ago. Because I need light cav, that's my main unit I've invested in here. I'm worried about these trebs because obviously I can deal with the archers because my units are faster than them and they take so long to take down buildings that they're not going to destroy infrastructure very quickly. So, but the fact that these, I think there's a villager in here that's slowing this group down. But yeah, the fact he's got these trebuchets now is very threatening, because he could smash into my base. But at this point, this is a little bit late. I probably should have done this before this castle came in. But I think I'm about to do a push here. I've also got a treb, as you've probably seen, on this castle. The vills are trying to repair it. That might be what is enticing me to attack here. Obviously I want to get this treb as well. But yeah, these vill kills would be juicy. Because, for tactical reasons, and, you know, because I don't want to repair the castle, but also because it's always good to kill villagers. Another treb down there, that's a very expensive unit. As you might have seen, though, you saw that group of light cav that ran off this way. So they've ran into the base. Another thing he could have done is stonewall this. You know what I mean? It's very open to raiding. So I ran these guys in, and although it doesn't look too good at the minute, let's take Fog of War off. Here is his town centres, and they both have this flag on, which means that he's rang the town bell, and so there's a huge amount of villages that have been pulled away and garrisoned in here as well. So that's quite a lot of economic damage just from that for a small investment, so it's not too bad. Let's use the view lock pushing up with more trebuchets here. Looks like he's running out of gold. Let's take this off view lock. So he's got 96 gold left there. I noticed earlier that this gold's gone. He pushed out at one point over here, but I think the villagers died. This guy's a clue here. Don't think he's got any gold left. There is some gold here, but obviously part of the reason why I built the castles here is to protect that resource. Perhaps that's why he was pushing so hard earlier. I didn't actually realise this. I've obviously I played the game and I watched this game through. I watched this game through just before I started recording in sort of fast forward mode to try and determine the main points of what happens, you know. So where's the vill count? 72 to 87. Pushing in on these archers. Got the trebs on this castle. The light cav spam is pretty insane because of that unique tech. Castle down. Because they have the top armor upgrade, they're not so bothered by these castles' arrow fire, so they can run in if they want to, you know, if it is useful. So here's the light cav, he needs to ring the bell. Something pro players do, by the way, is they manually garrison the amount of villagers that are under threat, so that because the bell sort of overcommits the amount of villagers to get affected by it. It's more for newer players. So yeah, I thought that was... I'm kind of glad I worked out the gold thing. Because it makes a lot of sense why he surrendered then. Well, more sense than it did before. But I mean, still, I think it's fair to make some criticisms of the way he played this. If you see the amount of food and wood that he's got stocked up, I mean, how many pikemen could you have made with that? And then I would have had to have changed the composition of my army completely. I do know what I would do to deal with that. There's techs that you can research for horse archers that make them very effective against pikes, but still, that would have given me more of a problem. I think he should have gone for my economy more. He had great success with doing that earlier, but he just sort of committed to massing a huge army and taking me out in one blow, I think, including my army, which didn't work. But yeah. As well, you know, you got the walling situation. He didn't get siege until very early. So yeah, but I mean, I do kind of feel like the reason why I'm criticising him so much is I really feel like that game was in his hands. My early game economy was terrible, and he ran his economy basically perfectly in the early game, I think. So he certainly had a huge advantage in quite a lot of this game. The point after we had the initial fight over here, when he took a raid from my boys getting in over here and killing quite a lot of villagers, that was obviously... I think if that didn't happen, he may have ended me quite early, if he was just allowed to sort of unmolested carry out his kind of plan. Perhaps it was his reactions to things that threw him off a bit. But that being said, as soon as that happened, he put a sort of equally as devastating in terms of numbers, I think, raid that killed 20 vills here in return, which in sort of percentage wise was probably a bigger hit for my guys. I guess the fact that the cav kind of disappeared and was unaccounted for meant that he had to hold some troops back, and maybe that made him not want to go for a big push. But yeah, it's it's quite perplexing. Put some comments if you'd like to try to explain how I won, because it is kind of weird. To be honest, I'm surprised that he didn't have at least more food than he has here, because what has he spent it on apart from villages? I don't know. Maybe he might have been selling it at the market to convert it into gold to make more archers. But yeah, I don't think it's controversial to say that he should have got some trash units to back up his army. Doesn't necessarily need skirmishers, but if he got some light cav to do some raids with, and some pikemen to just kill my light cav, then he would have fared a lot better, I think. And I would have had to change the way I played this. But yeah, I thought this was quite an interesting game, especially when I rewatched it. I had quite a few to weigh up. And when I rewatched it, I was just looking at his economy in the early game and just thinking, how do I win this? I hope I didn't give it away that I win early on, but obviously I knew that as I was watching it, and I was just like, what the hell? How did he not win? So yeah, maybe you find that interesting. Hopefully more people watch it than the StarCraft one. I mean, I got a positive response for the StarCraft one, but I just felt like it was kind of too much of a dead game for it to get a major amount of interest. I think it was just people that already subbed to my channel that happened to like StarCraft watched it. So yeah. Alright, I'll probably make some more of these because I enjoy casting games, and as you can probably tell, I'm interested in RTS. I'm going to try not to just sort of wank myself off and just cast games that I win, but I've got one in mind that I lose that I think will be fun to cast. But yeah. But yeah, it's probably going to be hard to do that. Because of my own bias, I usually feel like the ones that I win are the most interesting. Okay, like and subscribe. Warhammer Library CEO, check it out. More lore coming soon, don't worry. I'm not going to convert myself into a gaming channel. The lore is the main mission of the channel. I started this channel because I wanted to make audiobooks, so there we go. And the lore is the way that I do that in a concise fashion. A concise and diverse fashion. Alright, so thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Comment something.